get to a point where we remember not to hit unmute and to hit on time. So my apologies for that, folks. So we'll go ahead and get started again. So today what we're looking at is we're looking at one that's a lot of fun and a little bit confrontational. And I think you will see it, and I think you'll smile when you look at it. So here's how it works, folks. So one of the real interesting pieces of our journey of life is we have to learn how love of self really works, how it functions, how it goes about doing what it does, etc. So this idea of how do we really get our heads around how love of self works is challenging because we want to have love of self, but we don't want to be selfish. And a big part of that is understanding we're supposed to love other people just as much as we love ourselves. That's supposed to be part of the message and part of how we go about our lives, part of how things work. And uh, what we want to do is we want to start to look at that and understand as well that we even want to get to the point where we love other people more than ourselves. And that's tricky, and that comes with time. And I can just imagine right now, so we're going like, wait a minute, be super careful with that. And to that, I would say you are absolutely right. This is not about this process we're going into is not about wringing yourself out so much that there's nothing left of you and you've just extended all your life in service to the point where you're depleted, you're upset, you're angry, you're lonely. It's not about that at all. It's about understanding that we're to come to a point where we really do start to place other people's needs before our own. And I think all of us see that. And I think all of you, I'm sure, have times when you have done that in a very healthy way. Again, there's unhealthy ways to do it, but there's very healthy ways to do it as well. And this is where Emmanuel Swedenborg talking about that. He says, if you want to be like the angels, you will come to love your neighbor more than yourself. And I just finished up a book. I like World War II history. Just finished up a book on Tarawa, and there's all kinds of very heroic examples there of people literally giving up their lives for their buddies. And there's something deeply heroic and beautiful about that. And I think we look at those sort of dramatic examples, but I think there's many examples of that in our lives too, where we see people who've really given up their lives in a certain sense for a loved one, for a child maybe with a disability, or for parents who may be struggling, who've done it in a deeply healthy way. And again, I want to say there are ways to do it in an unhealthy way. And how do we keep from losing ourselves? Well, I think part of it is to remember that as we are in this process of giving, is to constantly think through the idea here, to constantly think through the idea that, all right, so we're going to be giving, and I want to think through the idea of what are my gifts to give. There's a part here that when we come at it from that, we have gifts to give. And when we give them, and we give them in service to things greater than ourselves, and we learn to love people more than we might even be functionally loving ourselves. Not that we ever should not love ourselves, but it's just we love people even more. It's interesting to watch because as we give those gifts, the joy just grows and grows and grows and grows. And our giftedness, this is real important, our giftedness, which actually is the center of our joy, our giftedness, like we come into that giftedness. And that's what true love of self is, where we look at these God-given gifts and we think, yes, this is my gift to give. And I will find great joy. I will find God. I'll find other people in actually giving that gift. So that's where we want to be thinking about, folks. Like, think about it through the gifts we are to give, and that's what we're trying to move towards. This one author I was reading this morning put it beautifully. He said, when we learn to give these gifts, it does not erase our identities, but secures them. And I find that a beautiful line. It doesn't erase our gifts, but it secures our gifts. Beautiful stuff. Our gifts become sort of anchored. That we live into them through all eternity, because a gift is not a static thing. A gift that's happened it happens in flow and giving. And a lot of this story of Noah is about sort of what do we have to get out of the way to get to that point. And it's important again to remember this is not sort of like some crazy codependency where we wring ourselves out. It's just we really start to understand what sacrificial agape love starts to look like. And there's very little doubt in my mind. All of you watching this right now have practiced it in some way, shape, or form. And you know what I'm talking about. Even though there might be a knee jerk response to being like, wait, you mean I'm not supposed to love myself? No, you're supposed to love yourself. It's just you come to sort of a foundation of loving yourself enough that you can really love other people even more. So love yourself enough so that you can love other people even more. And we love them by serving. So there's my thought for today, folks. My apologies for the little mute thing there. It's it's a constant bugaboo. With technology, I need to remember to do that. I don't always. My apologies. Certainly didn't yesterday. My apologies for that. So with that, friends, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little meditation here. After the meditation, we're going to do a little prayer. After the prayer, we're going to do a little blessing, and after the blessing, we're going to say hi to folks on social media. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath here. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's take a little look here at our social media feed. And again, I hope all you folks are doing incredibly well. And a big shout out to folks to the Mech family. That sure it was super fun yesterday. Oops, it was super fun yesterday being able to. I'm having a few little technical glitches here. Super fun yesterday to be able to enjoy their family and their farm. And again, my apologies for the technical side of things. I wish I hadn't blown it because it sure was fun, but it was fun getting back in the saddle and being able to do it again with them. And anyhow, wonderful family, wonderful opportunity there to do that from up there. All right, Patricia, great to see you joining us this morning, and good morning to you. Linda, good morning to you, my friend, and I hope you're doing well. Teresa, if your ears were burning yesterday, it was with good reason. I was talking about how much your input in our sermon writing team makes such a huge difference. Sue, good morning to you, my friend. Diane, so good to see you joining us this morning. And yeah, Diane, she's a teacher, and and isn't it an interesting time of year just watching the way all our rhythms as teachers sort of might still get fired up come every year August at this time. So grateful to have you joining us today. Marcus, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well, buddy. Sherry, good morning to you. I love seeing you joining us every morning. Marcus, writes, "In order to love your neighbor as yourself, you must also love yourself." Yeah, and it's a very interesting one, right, Marcus? And it's kind of like you can't. I was trying to think how to describe this. Like, right, you can't shift it. Well, don't love yourself way far upstream, so that becomes the first truth you come to. It can't. It actually has to be the opposite. We have to love ourselves enough to love other people. And then we can love ourselves enough to love other people even more because we trust that there's an enoughness to life. So anyhow, something to think about. Let's see. Melissa, my dear friend, hope you're doing well, my friend. Very deep thought. Glad you enjoyed it. Linda writes, "Beautiful message, Chuck. Thank you. You are welcome." And it sure was a great time at our dinner on Friday, by the way, Linda, our Saturday. And Tina writes, "Thank you, Chuck, for your loving message. Have a great day." Same to you too, my friend, and I hope you're doing well. So thank all you folks for joining us this morning. I know a lot of you join us, most of you join us archived, and you're welcome to leave a comment at any point in time. It's wonderful anytime you join us here today or anytime throughout the week or the months ahead. Some people are I'm even getting comments from months ago, which always brings sort of a smile. And regardless, wonderful to hear from folks and just wishing you all the best. And yep, the summary for today: may you love yourself enough that you can love other people even more. So take care, my dear friends. We'll see.